Hello and welcome to episode 80 of Fergo and the Freak. I'm that bloke from Rugby League Project, Andrew Ferguson. You can find me on Twitter at AndrewRP. And joining me as always is the glorious League Freak, who you can find on Twitter at League Freak. How you going there, mate?
I'm very good. How are you?
Oh, upbeat and perky.
That's what you like to hear.
Had myself a big steak. I cooked it myself.
Did ya?
It's fantastic.
Now, here's a question. Do you have your steaks like thick or do you do the thin ones?
No, it's got to be thick.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I want to make sure that it's well known to my body that I've just eaten an animal.
Yeah, I want my body to go to some level of shutdown.
Exactly.
Once I've finished, I need it to be like, what the hell did you just do? We're doing nothing for the rest of the day.
Yeah,
that's what I like. That's how I eat my steak.
And let's do this again some other time.
Yeah, but give me a couple of months, you know.
Yeah, if I want something thin, meat-wise, I'll just grab like slices of ham and have a sandwich.
Yeah. I agree with you. Yeah, it's actually that's what I've eaten all day. Hey, just shaved ham, just on buns, like just as is. It does it for me. I'm one of those weirdos that once upon a time I used to put together sandwiches and stuff like that, and I was super elaborate. Like I would get chutneys and all sorts of stuff. But it's weird. As time's gone on, it's like I just like pure food. So that's like I like coffee just black. You know, I just love just basic pure stuff because I like to taste the thing. I don't need a million different flavors.
Fully agree with that.
Yeah.
Fully
it's
agree.
like say with a steak, right?
Mm.
Once upon a time, I would have got all sorts of different, like, you know, seasonings and stuff. But now, just give me the steak, man. That's all I need. Steak and maybe like just a side of some sort. Not heaps of sides either.
Mine is usually steak. I don't cook with any oil.
Yep.
Just pop it in a Teflon pan. It won't stick. What more do you need? It's got its own juice.
Yep.
And some spuds and some mixed veggies.
Yeah.
That's
the way
it.
to go. Yeah.
Keep that shit simple.
Have you ever butterflied a chicken?
No.
I tell you what, you butterfly chicken, put it on the barbie, right? You got to be careful because it'll dry out and burn, so you got to watch it. But if you get garlic salt and rub garlic salt underneath the skin, right, and then a bit on top of it, man, you barbecue that sucker, it tastes so good.
All right, sounds like you've decided what dinner's going to be when I come around to your place sometime soon.
A porter.
Hell yeah!
I don't say that I actually cook any of this stuff anymore, but yeah. Anyway, how do we get onto this topic? I'm not even hungry. Hey, I've just eaten.
Yeah, likewise. It's all good.
Yeah.
We're feeling good because we've had a good feed.
Yeah, exactly.
We usually save this chat for the back of this show, so you know, mixing it up.
Yeah, you're getting it up front.
Alrighty. That's what she said. I was contemplating whether to drop it in or not. Anyway, bit of news this week. We're going to start off with Shane Flanagan. He has sent a 10-page statement of contrition to the NRL, apologising for his actions. He claims he now understands the impact of his actions and what's some of the quotes he's got here? I want the commission to know I now understand and accept accept that these rules and regulations need to be complied with. It's more the fact they have to be complied with.
Yeah, they're not just suggestions then.
Yeah, they're not guidelines.
Yeah, they're not just like, you know what, it'd be nice if you stuck to the salary cap. It'd be nice if when we ban you for your involvement in the Asada scandal, if you would, you know, just abide by the year off that you were banned for. That would be nice.
And most people have a pretty good understanding that, you know, cheating is wrong.
Yeah.
And so usually when you know you're not doing the right thing, your mind tells you that you're cheating. I don't know why it has to take a suspension, or a second suspension, I should say, for it to really sink in and go, you know what? All those years ago, I think I may have fucked up.
Yeah.
Like
you know what?
If I think about it, I didn't coach for a year, and I'm not coaching now. And I think it was a penalty. I might have fucked up somewhere. I better have a look into this.
Yeah, it's like I did something wrong that I should not have done. And after, like, 1 year ban, which was absolutely extraordinary and deserved, and then an indefinite ban, he's like, oh, yeah, 8 months later, oh, you know what? Epiphany time.
Yeah. So he said, I take complete ownership of my actions, attitude, and behaviour at that time. Shane, you're supposed to take complete ownership of your actions, attitude, and behaviour at all times, whether you're cheating or not. I mean, that's just part of being responsible.
You know what I really love about that statement? I love that, like, and I don't know how old Shane Flanagan is. I'm guessing he's 50-something, right? But I love this idea that this old gentleman is like, you know what? I take responsibility for my actions. Oh, it's hilarious. It's so rugby league.
It is. He's it's making so 10 pages of that.
How much? Like, I can't imagine what he said over 10 pages. He must have gibbered on about all of the supposed good stuff that he's been doing in an effort to, like, get back in the good graces of the commission.
Yeah, it must be an awful lot of wanking like that. Yeah. And the only reason why I can see that he's jumped to this sudden need to get his name cleared and get back coaching again is, I dare say, he's been offered a job somewhere. Possibly a head coaching job. Yeah,
you would think so. It's not just so that he can say, you know what, I just need to put my mind at peace about this whole thing. It's, he's obviously been offered a job. And as you were saying to me last night, it's got to be the Dragons. It has to be. I just can't imagine it's anyone else.
That's right. And it's, it works too because, he lives nearby. He used to play for the Dragons, so you can classify as one of the boys.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, it just seems to make sense that they would chase someone like that. I mean, Jeff Tuvey is sitting there waiting for a job, has never cheated, is a proven winner.
Yeah.
And you could have him immediately. You wouldn't have to wait for some sort of special ruling by the ARLC, which may not even happen.
Yeah.
Just say, Tuvs, do you want to be coach next year? And he goes, okay.
And that's it. Yeah. Very straightforward.
Yeah, I don't get why they're doing this. And furthermore, that squad is perfectly suited for Tuvey. I mean, it's suited well for Flanagan as well. Flanagan likes having those big monster packs, which the Dragon side has. But Tuvey would work just as much wonders with that side as well, with a decent pair of halves in there as well.
It's crazy because I think most coaches ever would do pretty good with that Dragons team.
Yeah.
It just so happens that McGregor, what a terrible season. At least for Dragons fans, they can kind of look at this whole thing and be like, it's a hope that things are going to change and McGregor's out.
Yeah. And look, Flanagan is, as far as looking at actual coaching ability is concerned, he is better than McGregor, but he should not be coaching.
No, not at all. He's proven. He's proven on a number of occasions, and it's not like he did one thing in one area. It's like he basically hit the home run. He did the grand slam.
Yeah.
I don't understand how there is any way that the NRL can recommend that he gets an indefinite suspension, which is pretty much a life ban, and then less than a year later they recommend to the commission to do a complete backflip on that decision. Because that would be a signal to the commission that Todd Greenberg is just, indecisive.
Well, he did let Simona come back, didn't he?
And that's the thing. Like, Simona should never have been allowed back either.
No.
So if Simona hadn't been allowed back, I would have said Flanagan's got Buckley's chance, right?
Mm-hmm.
But Simona is back. And the weird thing is that Todd Carney is never, ever going to be allowed back. And when you line up what Todd Carney has done, and he does get a bit of a Lifetime Achievement Award in just doing silly shit, but when you line up what Simona did to Todd Carney, it's not even close, man. It's not even close.
Not even in the ballpark.
No.
So I think there's one thing that's missing out of this, and that's Flanagan is going out and he's apologising to the ARLC, to the NRL.
Yeah.
I think the first thing they need to do is say, before we read this thing, Shane, you need to get out here in a press conference and publicly apologise to all the fans.
Mm-hmm.
Every single genuine shareholder we have, make it public. You apologise to all of them, then we'll read your submission, then we'll consider it whether we accept it or not. Now, what else are we talking about? They should sit him down and say, we need to have a chat about the ASADA stuff.
Yeah.
How much are you willing to tell us? That will determine how willing we are to allow you to coach again.
Exactly. Because if he really is contrite and he really is sorry for what he did, and he really does see that now he sees that, rules are there for a reason. Let's sit down and see what he really wants to say about it. Because if he sits down and he says, look, I'm going to line up exactly what happened, and he spills his guts and he says everything that happened, how it happened, why it happened, and who was involved, then I'm willing to listen to him. But if he doesn't want to do that, go away. It's like if he's like, even if he says, that's all in the past, it's like, go away then. Saves your career. It's in the past too now.
I don't raise that because I want any sort of sanctions put against the Sharks. It's old news now. There's nothing you can do with them. I mean, they got the spoon or whatever it was that year. Doesn't matter. What we need to find out is the length of it, how it happened, so that it can't happen again.
Yep.
And if anyone who is involved in it is still involved with the game, to have them taken out of the game.
100%.
That's got to be the purpose of it.
Yeah, I don't want to. I'm like you. I don't want to retry it. I don't want to go back and no one. It's not about hitting the club again. It's not about rebanning players or anything. It is just is there anyone else we need to look at? Is there anyone else we need to remove from the game? And then, as you say, look at the processes that they chose to go through, and make sure that cannot happen, because he has as good an insight on the stuff that was happening as just about anybody. And if he's willing to sit down and talk about that, great. That is a sign of contrition. But outside of that, if he shuts his mouth, he can go away.
Yep, I fully agree with that. Help us, Flano, we'll help you.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's fair. I reckon that's really, really fair. That's not making him go to some extreme level to do something. That's pretty damn fair, I reckon.
That's right. And especially when you say, look, you're not going to cop any more punishment. We just need to know all of this so that we can stop this from ever happening again.
Yeah.
And then I think there was an idea you had afterwards, and that was, we'll allow you to coach again, but you'll have a minder around you 24/7. All your correspondence will go through one of our officials. They will watch you and walk around with you everywhere you go, all the time, everything you do.
Yeah, see, that wasn't
that was more me, wasn't it?
Yeah,
that was more my. I was getting a bit crazy.
Because the thing about something like that, I think if he's okay to coach, he's okay to coach. It's like if you've given him the green light, you've given him the green light. You can't really monitor him like that. But well, you could, but it's pretty extreme. I mean, who's going to hang around with Flannery? Flanagan, sorry. Who's going to hang around with him like 24/7? He doesn't seem like the chirpiest bloke in the world.
Well, there'd be a bloke looking for a new job at the Dragons. He probably wouldn't mind doing it.
Maybe that's what Gus can do. That can be part of his review. Wow. That he's got a 14-foot chain that's between him and Shane, and they just they're always stuck together like that.
Wow. Who'd kill the other one first?
That's a good question. That'd be great.
Speaking of death,
Yes.
Swinton. The Swinton Lions over in the UK made a decision, their board there, to rename the club. That's all it was going to be, was a renaming of the club from Swinton, because no one knows where it is, to Manchester. Mm-hmm. Try and draw in all that attention that the Manchester soccer teams have got, United and City. Try and get some fans that way. Try and get some sponsorship and some money into the club. Try and get them moving upwards and forwards and securing their future, all that sort of stuff. And all it was going to be was...
Try and spread their wings more than a catchment area where they can currently get a few hundred people to games.
Exactly right. And it's one of the very few times that we've seen an English club at any level think this boldly and this positively. And a bunch of sooks have decided, it means that we're going to have all of our history and our legacy and all that stuff's gone. No, it means the word Manchester is on the logo on your jumper. That's all it meant. Mm-hmm. But nothing changed. You're still playing at the same ground. Still got all the same history, all the same legacy. Even the colours are the same. All it was a name on the badge. And they had a whinge. Devastating decision.
Yeah, and so the board has decided that they're basically going to give control back to a, what do they call it over there, a supporters trust.
Yep.
And they're basically going to stand down. And yeah, it could spell the end of the club, basically, which is absolutely terrible. And it's sad because the board had really tried to do something positive and really put in place measures that they felt were going to make the club take a step forward rather than just, staying at that same small level that they'd been at for forever. And apparently there was like all sorts of threats and stuff made to board members and things like that. And yeah, it just killed the idea of it, and really, really short-sighted stuff. Really, really sad for not only the club, but the game in general in the UK. And anytime you see a club really try and make a positive step, and it's weird because only a few days ago, you and me were so excited when we heard this news, and we were looking up where places in Manchester where if they grew their supporter base, they might be able to play that were not too big but not too small. And then 24 hours later, this news comes out that they're pulling the plug on the whole idea, and just deflating.
It is. It's devastating. And a lot of the fans are saying, some of the stuff I read online, the fans are saying is, reason why we didn't like it is because they didn't tell us what was going to happen or what it was all going to be, or it was very, there was no democracy involved. I mean, show me a club of any sport anywhere in the world that is both successful and a democracy.
Yeah, exactly.
Doesn't exist.
No.
Why would it? You cannot function that way.
No, you can't. You need one pathway, one vision. You can't have, it's the old saying, like, too many cooks spoil the broth. You just can't do it that way. And we've seen it happen with certain clubs where they start to run things by committee, and it just doesn't go the same direction it does when you've got a single-minded focus and somebody that's really properly in charge, and they say, this is where we're going, and you're either with us or you're against us.
Exactly. And I don't know why the fans are so upset. Like, other than the name change, which they're all opposed to, everything else about it was completely positive. There was no hidden agenda here to kill the club or anything like that. That's not what they wanted. The fact that they've increased crowds this year and increased the amount of money in the kitty this year, not by much, but they have done it compared to what they've been doing for years before, showed that they were committed to try and helping this club out. Their intentions are in the right place.
Yeah.
A lot of owners come into these clubs and they just go, here's a shit ton of cash. Don't lose it too quickly. These owners come in and said, no, we've got the money, but we also want to make this thing work and get better and bigger and stronger.
Yeah.
They're actually putting in the fucking work to be shut down like that. Oh, it's devastating.
It really is. And it must be very sad for the board members and the board that are standing down, because they really had a thought that this was going to work. This was going to be really positive for the club. And to have to walk away from that now is very, very sad. And, I don't know what happens to Swinton from here. I guess we'll see. But, I mean, anything's got to be better than what's happening with them now. And I don't understand how anybody can look at a positive change like that, even just for just change's sake. Like, if a name can be changed, it can be changed back if it doesn't work.
Yes.
And I don't get the mentality because, look, if the Panthers said we can't really survive at this level, we've got to market to all of Sydney. We're going to call ourselves the Sydney Panthers. We're going to play at Penrith. We're going to have the same colours. We're not leaving here. I'd be like, yeah, go for it. Call yourself whatever you need to be if that's what saves the club.
Yeah. So I'm wondering if that board that's just resigned from Swinton are now going to go and try and get that Manchester Rangers expansion side up that I think was put forward a while ago. And
see, I don't know anything about that. The Manchester Rangers.
Yeah, in 2016, the Manchester Rangers had submitted a bid to enter League One.
Yeah.
But it got knocked on the head.
Okay.
So I wonder if that concept will be revisited by this board. I mean, they're a pretty progressive sounding board, which is kind of foreign for English rugby league.
Yeah, or rugby league in general for the most part.
Well, that's true too. I wonder if they go and try and get that team up, and they only need 3 good seasons in a row, like Toronto. Bam, Super League.
And the thing is too, like, just say you put them in right now, and you'd let the Swinton board that's had to step down take them over, getting 300 fans. It's not going to be difficult, to equal what they're doing at Swinton. So, it's just.
But you just imagine
that rugby league has these moments like this where certain supporter groups and it's not the whole supporter group. Like, I was reading some of the things, and there were people that were saying that the majority of fans were open to this change, and it's a very small minority that have really, hit it on the head. And the thing was, it was the threats, I think, that, people making threats to board members who are just trying to do what's best for the club is ridiculous.
There was talk, actually, too, that the mayor of Salford had been quite negative about it as well publicly.
Which I don't understand.
No.
Because Salford's got a team.
They do.
I just don't get it. And this is a thing I've had with... I remember years and years ago, I used to say to English rugby league fans on a lot of the forums, I used to say the future has to be targeting cities, not just remaining in small towns, because that's just the way sport is going. And I remember saying, like, how can you have Manchester not have a team that's called Manchester? And they'd be like, oh, because it's Manchester and, it's a football town and stuff. And I used to say, like, the other thing I would say is, like, why has rugby league never, ever looked at Birmingham? Because people would say, oh, there's a class thing with rugby league. That's why it doesn't work in South. And it's like, okay, so what about Birmingham? Oh, that's a soccer town and they don't have rugby league and blah, blah, blah. It's like, because you've never taken it to them. Like, they've got to look beyond these small towns.
It's amazing how they were so keen, and they've tried it a few times to bring teams in London, yet they won't go to Birmingham.
It's so weird. It's not even like it's that far away.
No, it's not.
I really don't get it. I really, really don't get it. And anybody that used to say, oh, rugby league's not going to work in Birmingham, it's like, so you don't have any faith that the game's that good. Is that what it is? Yeah. Because if the game is as good as we all think it is, you can put it anywhere and it's going to go okay.
Exactly. There was news that earlier this year, a team in India has started playing games.
Oh, really? I haven't heard that.
Yeah.
I know there's lots of places all around Europe where rugby league is going pretty well.
Yep. It's gone really strong in Serbia.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of European nations have now got rugby league to some some degree there. I mean, it's starting to pick up in Spain. You know, if you can't get it in Birmingham, for crying out loud, and the whole argument of it'll never work there, you know, based on what?
Yeah. Like, is there any other sport in the world where expansion, and not even over the top expansion, just, you know, it's Birmingham. It's down the road.
Yeah, it's a city. It's nearby.
Yeah.
You've taken teams to you've taken teams to Wales. Yeah, but you won't go to Birmingham. Don't get it.
I really don't either. I don't know why there's this big thing about, you know, we got to make sure that it works in this town, but we can't go to a city.
Yeah,
it's like there's a reason why Leeds and Bradford have dominated over Super League's entire history. It's like it's not rocket science.
Yep. Now let's get on to one of our pet hates.
Oh, which one?
Graham Annesley's Monday ref review. Now,
the old PowerPoint presentation, eh?
This week, today, he had a video which went for just under 5 minutes, and it was looking at the Melbourne versus Canberra game.
Okay.
Now, at the 92nd mark, he decided to address the incident where Vunivalu was wrongly ruled to have gone into touch with less than 2 minutes left in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Here's a bunch of his quotes.
Okay.
The touch judge got the decision wrong. The touch judge himself was personally devastated after the game that he got this wrong, when he became aware that it was wrong. It's affected him quite badly in terms of his personal well-being, so I don't want to labour on it. He then said, over the next 3 minutes, labouring on it, it's wrong, but we will show it once at normal speed to show how quickly it happens, and I'll show a freeze frame afterwards that shows just how close it was to the touchline. But that doesn't in any way diminish the fact that the decision was wrong. But there have been some claims that I've read about, you know, that this was nowhere near the touchline, and that couldn't be further from the truth. We're not suggesting that the hand touched the sideline. It didn't. The decision was wrong.
I'm glad he didn't labour on that fact, eh?
This is while he's looking at the footage and then showing the freeze frame. And then he said, the touch judge will obviously pay the price for that. He knows that goes with the territory, but I'd also say that whilst he's taken that very hard, and I can relate to that, you know, it's obviously a very big game, and it came at a crucial time, and he made the wrong decision. Some of the stuff that's been floating around, especially on social media, including vilification of him as a person, threats that have been made against him, are completely and totally unwarranted. Yes, he made a wrong decision. It doesn't make him a bad person. It doesn't make him a bad official. He made a bad decision in this instance. For someone who didn't want to labour on, he spent 3 minutes banging on about how this referee got it wrong, how it was an important game, and how he's paid the price. It happened at a crucial time. It was a wrong decision. It was a big game. It was a wrong decision. Yes, he got it wrong. The decision was wrong.
He's going to pay the price.
And let's have a look at it, and we'll look at it again. But I'm not labouring on it. I mean, Graham, shut up. Seriously, we do not need these ref reviews. All you're doing here is giving people all the fuel they need to bitch and moan about the referees even further. And when the fact that you've come out and said that he's been getting all these negative comments, how do you think reviewing it like this and banging on about his one wrong decision for 3 fucking minutes helps fix that situation? You're telling all the fans and all the commentators out there that our refs make mistakes, and we're going to put them up on a big fucking screen and tell everyone how they made their mistakes. But don't criticise them. That's my job. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Like, I mean, just say Craig Bellamy said that exact same thing at the press conference. They would have fined him $10,000 at least.
And the rest, yeah.
You know, and how Graham Annesley, who's their boss, the referee's boss, how he can think he is adding anything positive to not only the referee's performances, to their, you know, their general well-being, to their confidence. I mean, what does he think that the game gets out of him doing these PowerPoint presentations where he literally is breaking down what they've done wrong. And this is in an instance where the bloody Melbourne Storm had just thrown the game away. Literally.
Yeah, like this was not a game-changing moment. There's less than 2 minutes left in the game. They went for a short kickoff. Yeah. It's a nothing moment.
I can't believe it. I can't believe he would be so tone deaf.
So stupid. There's no point for this crap.
No.
I'm so strongly opposed to having each referee error highlighted and explained in this lurid detail like this. It's so counterproductive. It does nothing. It adds no value to the referees. It helps them in zero ways.
It hurts them. It's actually it's counterproductive. And, you know, anybody that watched that game saw the Melbourne Storm had plenty of chances to win it. They had the lead. They had the ball. The game was over. You know, they just had to kill the ball, kill it, you know, and that was it. And they threw the ball straight over to Canberra. Canberra scored, didn't even get one play the ball in. They didn't need it. They just passed it out wide and scored. Let a second rower score too. And, you know, to think that, I didn't see anybody on Twitter saying that cost the Storm the game, okay? And I think that anybody with half a brain in their head that saw even just the last 5 minutes of that game would say, well, that decision sucked, but the thing that cost them the game was when they basically handed Canberra a try under their posts out of nothing. And yet here we've got the NRL itself undermining the referees by, you know, breaking them down. I mean, there's not one place where mistakes are broken down by teams and what they do themselves at all. Like, no one does that.
No.
And yet here we've got the NRL doing it with referees.
Yeah, it's absurd. I hate it. Hate it with a passion.
I just don't understand. I mean, can you imagine what the referees must think when they sit down, they get their referees' appointments, they look through the game tape, and, you know, they don't live in bubbles. They know what Graham Annesley said. They'll have watched it. And, you know, I can't even imagine. I wouldn't even ask a referee. If we, like you say, we had Casey Badger back on, I wouldn't ask her because she wouldn't be able to say what she probably really thinks about it. And I don't think any of the referees could. And I've said on this podcast before, there should be no referees, boss. The referees should just do their job. They should be given their assignments, yeah, but they don't need a boss. They're the experts in refereeing. They don't need some extra person. You know, just let them do their job. That's all I want to do. They don't need directives and, you know, new crackdowns and stuff. Just let them bloody referee the game.
Absolutely with you 100%. This constantly, I don't know, it's almost like they're pandering to what the media wants.
It really is.
And the media isn't out there demanding better refereeing. The media is out there saying, we want content. And this is giving it to them. And negative content. It's like, you know, give them coins on a platter. Here you go. I just don't get it. Makes no sense at all.
It's so bad for the game. It really is. And I feel so sorry for the referees because we watched a round of football where a couple of teams didn't turn up and one team like just choked completely. And I'm talking about the Storm. They choked. And
they did.
For some reason, we're talking about a poor touch judge. You know, unbelievable.
And let's be honest, people are talking about it, you know, the ones who are whinging about it are talking about it as if there was like 3 inches or so. His hand was in the air and over the line.
Mm.
So if you're running from downfield and you've got a split second to make a decision, you're going to say, well, his hand was in touch. It looked like it from where I was.
Yeah, look, I said to you yesterday, at full speed, I was like, oh, man, I think his hand was in touch. And I saw the touchies flag up, and I was like, yeah, called it. And then they showed the replay, and I was like, man, that was close, but it looks like he wasn't in touch.
Yeah.
So as you say, it's not like it was some absolutely dreadful, can't work out how that call was made. It was like very, very close.
That's right. And the thing is, he's been stood down over it, and I think that is completely wrong.
Yeah. It sends the wrong signal to the referees.
Yeah.
And I'm all for, look, if you're a video ref and you stuff it up and you make the wrong decision, stand them down. Maybe it's not their role. Yeah, because you've got the replays, right? But if you're on the run and you're a touchy and you make a call, you got to stick by. They literally say you got to go by what the referees and the touchy say, and then the NRL turns around and says, "But no."
Yeah, I got all the things you could dump a sideline official for. That is not it. That is so close.
It really is.
Did not warrant being dumped. But honestly does, because I'm sick of him.
Yeah, he adds nothing. He adds nothing to the refereeing situation. He's actually hurting it. And I don't understand why somebody at the NRL doesn't understand that and tells him to stop getting on his friggin' live stream and breaking down the referees' performances. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, imagine how the wider league community in the NRL would feel if it was Buzz Rothfield doing that to referees every week.
Yeah, exactly. Well, just imagine if anybody, you could pick like the most loved people in all of the rugby league community. Like you could pick, say for instance, Yvonne Sampson, obviously me, you, and I don't know, who else would there be? Who would be another loved person in the rugby league community? I don't know. You leave me out. You leave me out in the limb here, mate.
I think you've got them all when you mentioned Yvonne, you and me. Who else is there?
All three of us. Yeah, we'll just do a show, the three of us, and then we sit down and we go through every single mistake that each team made, every knock on, every kick out in a full, everything like that, every missed goal. Imagine if people would hate it. People would be like, "You're being unfair. They're only human. Why are you looking at all of their flaws? Why don't you look at the positives?" And yet that's what Graham Annesley does every week for the refs.
Yep. Anyways, got the rant out of the way.
Yeah, it was a good rant.
It was a good rant. I'm quite pleased with that. Now we'll go for a bit of comedy.
Okay.
The Daily Telegraph have put out their exclusive fan poll.
Okay.
And the thing I found funny about this before we even get into it is the fact that they asked the fans to give their views on these questions.
Mm-hmm.
So essentially, the fans giving them 100% of the content.
Yep.
And then they write the article and put it behind a paywall.
Well, you got to pay for modern day journalism and the quality. You get the quality you pay for.
So the fans do all the work, and then they've got to pay to see the results of their work.
Yeah, it's brilliant. Hey,
you don't have to worry about that at leaguefreak.com.
No, it's all free, baby.
Oh yeah.
Just click some of them. Just click on some of them bloody banner ads while you're there, and don't complain to me when it's about weird stuff, because it goes by your search history, you weirdo.
If you right click on it and just open it in a separate window all the time, that might be a quick way around it.
Well, if they've got a thing where they look at how people click on stuff. So say somebody thinks, oh, I'm going to go to League Freak's website and I'm going to click on all the ads. I'm going to click all of them and blah, blah, blah. They look at that and they say, that's weird. We're not paying you for those clicks. They only do organic clicks. Now, I don't know how they work out what's organic and what's not, but I do know that I've had people say to me, hey, League Freak, why do I keep on getting adverts on your site for mail order brides and stuff? And I've got to break it to them. It goes by your search history.
Yeah. Which is why every time I go on there, I just see adverts for my book.
Yeah, you know what I get adverts for? I get adverts for shoes, Nike shoes, non-stop.
And hammers.
Yeah. It's like, do you want to be the king of Asgard?
to buy this hammer. All right, let's get into this one just quickly. So they got the hard question first. Which NRL team do you support? 23% said Brisbane. No one else is close. Parramatta 9%. Manly Dragons at 8%. Titans 2% and the Warriors 1%.
Okay, yep.
At the bottom.
That's kind of weird that so many people picked Brisbane for a Sydney rag.
Which rival NRL side do you most love to hate? Melbourne 25%, Manly 15%, Roosters 14%, Brisbane 12%. So people, there's a high number of people who love the Broncos and hate them at the same time.
Yeah, that's weird. Who do you love to hate?
Well, aside from Annesley.
Yeah.
I don't know. See, for a long time it was South, only because of the Balmain versus South thing.
Okay.
But I don't know. I find that I've softened in my hatred for other clubs.
Okay.
I just want to see teams play decent football.
Yeah.
Plus, it's easy to just rip on everyone if you don't have a hatred for one team. You can just be balanced and rip on everyone evenly.
I think that's where I luck out a little bit because I hate everybody the same. Like there'd be plenty of teams that would be like, "Oh, why do you hate us so much?" And it's like, no, you ain't special. I hate everyone the same. That's
consistent. I think the one team I've probably hated on the most in my life is the team I support.
Yeah, I would say that too. I'm harsher towards Penrith than I am every other team. Definitely.
Yeah. So the least hated side here are Penrith, Warriors, Canberra, Tigers, Titans, Cowboys, and the Knights.
See, I feel like you want to be hated. I would rather be hated and be good.
Exactly. Who is the best player in the game? Tedesco 39%, Cameron Smith 28%, and the rest have all got 5 or less.
Wow, I'm kind of surprised that Cameron Smith was so high up. But I don't argue with it, but I'm just a little bit surprised that there weren't other players there. And I get Tedesco. I mean, he's had a fantastic season.
He has. If you were building a club, who would you sign as your marquee player? Tedesco 28%, Munster 16%, Smith 13%, Tom Trbojevic 12%, Callum Ponga 9%, Tom Malolo 7%.
Wow, that's low.
Where do you see rugby league in 5 years?
I see rugby league in 5 years with a couple of kids, maybe working part-time, maybe at a 7-Eleven. Talking about how they used to be really good, but something happens, something went wrong somewhere. That's where I see rugby league in 5 years' time.
Ah.
Oh, wait, that's me.
Well, is there a difference? Bit of growing off the waters, that's about it.
Yeah, pretty much.
18 teams with 2 expansion sides got 31%. No change, 28%. 16 teams with 1 club relocated, 26%. 18 teams with 1 club relocated, 15%.
Okay.
How many teams should there be? 16 got 41%, 18 got 38%, 14 got 12%, and 20 got 9%.
Wow, 20 got 9%. That's kind of shocking to me.
Yeah.
I mean, I would love for there to be 20 teams. Like, if they said in 5 years' time, 20 teams, I'd be like, beauty.
Yeah. I'm not opposed to it. I don't know why there has to be this low number or magic figure of 16 or so for the competition. I think if a club is sustainable and can look after itself, and let's be honest, how can you not when the NRL's giving your leagues club a ton of cash every year and they're paying your players' salary?
Well, you know what it is, don't you? You've got the pie, right? And like, even if you say the grant is going to go up, so you're not going to lose $1. You're actually going to make more money. But as a club, you would rather own, and the NRL clubs do have a certain level of power that they get out of it. But every single club that's added, that power that they have just shrinks just a little bit.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
It does, but at the same time, If they can expand to new markets, get new sponsors, that sort of thing, then it does mean more money could come into the game and into their pockets.
100%. And I get that, but that's not rugby league. That's not how rugby league thinks.
No, I know that.
Rugby league is like, oh, what? I already share this thing with 15 other clubs. I'd rather share it with 11 other clubs in an ideal world. Of course, my club makes that cut, but I don't want to have to share it with 17 other clubs. I don't want to share it with 19 other clubs. That's how they think.
It is, yeah. They're stupid.
Yep.
Where should the NRL expand to next? Brisbane, 30%. How do you expand to a place you're already in?
Well, do you see the Broncos play? I don't know that Brisbane has an NRL team.
Oh, goodness.
Nice if Brisbane had an NRL quality team, wouldn't it?
That's true, yeah. Maybe they should relocate to the Gold Coast.
That'd be good. No, what if they just
around?
Yeah. Oh, look at that. Great minds think alike.
Perth, 26%. The Central Coast, 23%. Has someone at the Telegraph been pushing for the Central Coast to have a team? That might be a reason why that's high.
I reckon it's just John Singleton and the people that run all of his businesses up there on the Central Coast. Anytime they see Central Coast come up, they just vote like crazy.
Yeah. Southeast Queensland, 12%. I mean, that's where Brisbane is.
Yeah.
Okay. Papua New Guinea, 6%. Adelaide, 3%.
Okay.
What is your favourite NRL match time slot? Friday, 7:50 p.m., 34%. Jesus Christ.
What? No way.
Sunday, 4 p.m. I don't know. It tells you that the people who are voting on this thing don't go to games. They sit at home, watch it on TV.
Yeah.
So 7:50 is enough time for you to get home from the mad bloody chaos of Sydney traffic and whatever else. You get to get home, sit down, order some pizza or something like that, and just park your ass in front of the TV and watch the footy until you nod off.
Yeah.
Sunday, 4 p.m., 19%. Sunday, 2 p.m., 16%. Saturday, 3 p.m., 10%. Friday, 6 p.m., 6%. Thursday, 7:50 p.m., 4%. At least the bottom two are correct.
Yeah, and I think we've talked about this before. I'd have all of the kickoff times, the nighttime kickoff times at 7 p.m. Yeah, I'd have as many afternoon games as possible.
Yeah. I don't like the idea of 2 Friday games, but I understand that they exist for TV and whatever else. So that's kind of a situation you're stuck with, I guess.
I also think we're in a weird place in that when we have enough games to go around, we're going to fill out all the time slots really well. Like when we've got enough that we can say, okay, we've got Sunday from 2 p.m., 4 p.m., and even a 6 p.m. game. But we've also got a Saturday afternoon game. We've got Friday night covered. But at the moment, we haven't got those extra games to put in the afternoon time slots and the extra time slots that would be ideal so that we cover everything.
It's almost like there's a genuine fear of having games start at 2 p.m.
I don't get it either. Like for me, I think the ideal start time's 3 p.m., right? But I'll cop 2 p.m. and 4 p.m. because TV needs that, right?
Yeah. I think 2, 4, and 6 would be good time zones to be kicking off on weekends.
Yeah.
It makes sense to me.
They don't want to do it. And that's why I also think having a couple of teams in New Zealand and a team in Perth would be great because you'd be able to service those other time slots that are a bit fun. And for them, it's just normal. It's a good normal kick-off time. So, yeah.
Yep. Should Queensland host the 2021 NRL Grand Final? Yes, 54. No, 46.
I've got no problem. I don't understand why anybody would say no.
Yeah, I don't get it. I generally don't.
Like I've got no need to deny any market the grand final just because.
Yeah, I'd be happy to trial things with the grand final. I wouldn't even be opposed to them having the NRL grand final at that new Perth stadium. If it's just for 1 year, what's the worst that can happen? A whole heap of people in Perth fall in love with the game.
Yeah. Origin, I think the Perth Origin game showed that once the game kicks off, you don't give a damn where the game is.
Nope.
Like, you just are watching. You know, if that's a game that you weren't going to be able to attend anyway, you don't care where it is. It's just on. It could be on Mars for all you care. Perth ran it really well. We talked about a little bit about this last night in another great episode we didn't record last night, by the way. It was brilliant. That, like, the way we saw it was that Brisbane would love it, that you were saying Melbourne would bend over backwards and throw a lot of money at it, but the dark horse could be Perth.
Yeah. I think Melbourne and Perth I think they've got the money in the bank to go in hard for this and compete with Brisbane and Sydney for it. And Melbourne would do it purely for the ego factor.
Yep.
As I was saying last night, it's because they'd say, well, we had the AFL Grand Final. You know, they may have even had an Origin game. We've got the Formula One. We've got the Australian Open Golf. We've got the Australian Open Tennis. We've got the Melbourne Cup. And then they could say, we also had the NRL Grand Final. What do you do, Sydney? That's what it'd be all about. It'd be just a massive bloody, this is how big our dick is thing.
And I think that I feel as though Brisbane would be like, okay, here's our shot. You know, like you say, the NRL said, okay, it's open. What have you got? I think Brisbane would be like, okay, well, we've got 55,000 seat stadium. Sweet. It's a beautiful stadium. Perfect for rugby league. And this is how much money we can offer. And I think that I just have a feeling that Victoria will offer so much money that the Queensland government will say, I'm sorry, man, we can't do that. And then I feel as though Perth is just going to, I think they're the only ones that could really push Victoria, to be honest.
Definitely.
And I say this with the idea that I don't mind having one grand final played at the SCG, because it's like a throwback. It's like, listen, we're probably never going to play another grand final at the SCG ever again. So let's go back there. Let's see how it goes. You know, we can say it's, a wonderful moment. We're back at the old girl. The used to be the epicenter of Sydney sport. This is where they named a stand after Clive Churchill. But, I don't want to play 2 or 3 grand finals there.
No. I think if we're in a situation where we've got 2 grand finals to play, then one needs to be in either Perth or Melbourne, and one can be in Brisbane. I'd be happy enough with that.
Yeah. I wonder how much the New Zealand government would put together for the grand final.
Be interesting, because
they would have to be thrown a lot of
where would they be playing it though?
Dollars. I think you'd have to play it at Eden Park, and I don't think that's much of a ground. But if they say, "Listen, this would be great for the nation," and the Kiwi public is like, "Yeah, do it," I wonder if they could compete with an offer that was good enough. You know what the problem is? Kickoff would be 10 p.m. That's the problem.
Oh, yeah, that would be a problem. It'd
kill it. Even if Channel 9 said, and whoever the broadcaster is, you got to give them a bit of help that direction. If Channel 9 said, we'll kick it off at 7 p.m. Sydney time, East Coast time in Australia, that's still a 9 p.m. kickoff in New Zealand, and that's not good.
Yeah, it'd have to be an 8 p.m. kickoff in New Zealand, which would be 6 p.m. here. Which I suppose for a one-off game that's going to be as big as that, you could probably get away with, but it's stretching it.
Yeah, you're asking a lot of your broadcasting partner.
Yeah.
And like at 8 p.m., 8:15, 8:30, they're putting on Lethal Weapon. It's a hard ask for them.
It is.
By the way, what happened to Lethal Weapon? Like, after the State of Origin games, I'm settling down to watch Lethal Weapon. Nothing.
What'd they have on instead?
They played. There was some Lethal Weapon series they put on, which I was disgusted by. So yeah.
Count yourself lucky. At least you got something that was half decent to watch. Every time after Origin down here in Victoria, it always went to the AFL Footy Show.
Oh, jeez.
And they cut it off so damn fast to try and get as many viewers to watch the first few seconds of the AFL Footy Show and go, oh, look at the ratings for the AFL Footy Show. It's through the roof.
Really?
Yeah. As it used to be, literally, they'd walk, as they're walking off the field.
Yeah.
Bang, off. You didn't get to see any of the presentations. Just bang, off air straight. And there was no ad break. It was just bang, straight into the AFL Footy Show.
I don't know if you remember this. In the 90s, I think it was a finals game. And this was when they had the replay. They basically did the replay. It was a delayed telecast of the Sunday game. And it went into finals. It went into like golden point or extra time or whatever. And so they played it, and it's coming up against the News. And so they said, and Team A beat Team B in golden point. Good night.
Ooh. That would have gone down well.
Yeah. Look, it was before social media. I should look it up. I can't remember what game it was. But
the people running the rugby league at the time would have been pissed at that.
Let me see if I can find it.
Right, well, I'll go on with this a bit further. Okay, so what is the best time to play the grand final? 51% said 3 p.m.
Wow. That's pretty crazy.
I'm not opposed to that either. Isn't that roughly when it used to kick off back in the 90s? Like you used to get the I'm going to use some old person term here. Yeah. The President's Cup, which was the under 21s.
Yep.
We kick off at 11 a.m.
Yep. And
then reserve grade was 1 p.m. And then first grade was 3 p.m. Yeah, the whole thing wrapped up before the Sunday news started.
See, I feel as though it might have been 3:30. Hey.
Wow, it was around there. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know why 3:30 sticks in my head.
A lot of games did back then. It was either 3:15 or 3:30. It used to be the time it always kicked off.
Yep.
But I always had this idea that would be a great way to do it, and you could actually get the people in England to say, you know what, we'll tip in a few coins your way.
Yeah.
For this one-off opportunity where you play your Super League Grand Final, and bugger it, even put on the challenge, the championship final on the same time, right? You have those two games over in England on, and by the time they've both finished, one after the other, it's time for the third grade grand final in Sydney.
Okay.
And you just have 5 straight games. You have an absolute bloody gala.
Just a giant rugby league day.
Yeah. And the broadcaster could just say, right, we've got rugby league for, 8 hours?
That would be pretty cool, actually.
Yeah.
I wonder, like, that's one of the things I liked about Bathurst when it had an earlier start time, is that you wake up, you grab yourself a coffee, sit down, motor racing all day. I used to like that. And I feel as though that's missing a little bit from the grand final. Like, I think their coverage starts at 12, but there's a lot of yapping and there's a lot of breaks between the games, which I don't like. Because I don't care about the pre-game and the post-game and I do not care about the halftime entertainment and stuff like that. I want to watch football. So having the games drawn out as long as they are now, it doesn't do it for me. But, yeah, it would be cool to have something like that where it's just like this great big international day of rugby league grand finals.
Yeah, I think it'd be fantastic.
Yeah.
So 51% said 3 p.m., 30% said 5 p.m., and 19% said 7 p.m.
What do you like? Because you like obviously an afternoon grand final, but what do you think about the 7 p.m. kickoff?
7 p.m. is fine by me. I don't like games starting later than 7:30, especially if I'm in attendance. As a parent, you got a child. It's a Sunday night. You're not getting out of that venue until at least 10 o'clock at night if it kicks off at 7:30, 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
And you've got to get your backside home, get that child asleep because they've got to go to school the next day. You've got to go to work the next day. That's just chaos. I don't see any logic in that whatsoever.
I also think that, and this is mostly applies to Sydney teams, while the grand finals in Sydney, there's something about you win the grand final and it's party time tonight, and it used to be like the grand final was won and everyone would go to the leagues club and, you'd be partying all night. Now, it's a bit different when it's 7 p.m. kickoff because it's 9 o'clock. The game finishes about then anyway. And so it's a bit of a later night, but it's still doable. Whereas if it kicks off at, if the game's finishing closer to 10 p.m., I can see certain people will go out to it, but not everyone. You can't nail a lot of people that are going to celebrate that win. I still think that rugby league clubs haven't worked out the best way to celebrate a grand final just yet, because I feel like there's got to be a balance between allowing the team, like the inner sanctum, to celebrate how they want to, but then you also want to open it up to fans. And a lot of these clubs, they take their celebrations behind closed doors and then turn up at this stadium or something the next day absolutely, shit-faced. Honestly, yeah. Yeah. But I part of me wonders whether, and it really is, it's only something Sydney clubs can do, where you go straight to the stadium, party for a couple of hours, and then go behind closed doors. I don't know how you do that perfectly.
Roll out kegs onto the ground after full time.
Yeah, just
all the fans can just come down with all the players and they can all just get absolutely tanked together. No journos and no phones.
Can you imagine, right? Just say Parramatta wins the grand final.
Oh, Jesus.
But seriously, I reckon they could fill a 30,000 seat stadium just with the grand final celebration.
Yeah, they could.
I think that would be nuts. And the Leagues Club would make so much money.
Yeah.
Damn.
Absolutely. Next question. How many teams should contest the NRL final series?
Ooh.
8, 67%.
Yep.
6, 21%. 5, 9%. And then 11 had 3%.
The 3%, I think this is why they brought in things like decimation in the Roman army. Because every so often you're going to have a certain percentage that you're going to have to off them. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
we've all voted, and you got to go.
You're off the island. I don't know how that works.
No. What do you reckon's the best number for? Let's say the best number for right now, 16 clubs.
6.
I agree. Now here's the second question for you. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Considering we're going to have expansion pretty soon, we'll probably get another 2 teams. Are you happy to go to 8 if we get another 2 teams?
Yes.
So am I.
Because I think if you've got less than half the teams in the finals,
mm-hmm.
those teams are going to have a better than 50% win record.
Yep.
They are going to be the top teams in the comp. We've seen year and year again that the 7th and 8th place on the ladder, more often than not, are just also runs and they get bumped out in the first week of the finals. If not, then they get knocked out in the second. I think there's only been 2, maybe 3 times when one of those teams has gone through to the grand final, but on each of those occasions they lost anyway. No teams won a grand final come from 7th or 8th.
No. I think with the current league, 6 would be brilliant.
Yeah.
I think 7 you could make a really good argument for. I think 8 you start and look, it's the numbers. It's that numbers thing where it just an 8-team final series is just so much easier to work with.
Yeah.
And that's what it comes down to, really.
That's right. So it's... Yeah, I've never been keen on the top 8 system when there's 16 teams. It just... I know it's simple and easy to work with, but it's also... it's also good for, half the fans are still watching their team at the end of the year, so that's
true.
It's an easy letdown, I guess, as far as, ratings and crowd figures and interest in the games goes. Only half the fans are displaced.
Yeah, and just games in the final series too.
Yeah.
I also, if you're an 8th place team, you wouldn't understand what I'm about to say here because, you know. But if you come 8th, right?
Ninth.
Yeah. You go for 9th place. But say you come 8th place, you do get something out of that. Even if you're going and it's like, man, you're not going to win the grand final. It's like, oh no, I'm just happy to be here.
Yeah. I made that comment on Twitter a while back. Like the Tigers knew that if they made the finals, they were going to be like Brisbane.
Yeah.
But they'd still go, who cares? We made it to the finals. Hooray!
Yeah, exactly. So,
and that's all 8th place is. It's a participation award.
Yeah. And man, like there's plenty of years I would take that.
Yes. Absolutely.
I can't believe you were like, nah, 9th place, that's the number. If they took it to 9th place, the Tigers would be like on some ridiculous streak of being in the finals.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. It feels like I'm being mean now.
they'd have more finals appearance than any other team in the competition.
Yeah. It'd be like they've got more finals experience in this side than any other team in the league.
Yeah. Come and join the Ninthers.
Yeah.
Do you like Sunday night Origin? 60% said no.
Oh, wow. That's interesting. You know what it shows? It shows that with the State of Origin on Wednesday night, which is purely for a TV thing,
yep.
It shows that people get conditioned after a while, where it becomes a tradition.
Which is crazy because it actually hasn't been in place that long, Wednesday Origins.
Yeah.
It's only become a regular thing in the 2000s.
Yeah, it's strange though, hey?
Yeah, I mean, they used to play it on Sundays, Saturdays, Tuesdays.
Yeah, weren't you
Mondays.
saying they've tried every day except Thursday, I think you said?
I'll have to check. It'd be something like that. Pretty much every single day except Thursday they've had Origin on.
Yeah.
And Wednesday has only been a recent novelty that they decided to stick with because the Channel 9 liked it.
What do you like?
I'd like to see State of Origin played on Saturday.
Yeah.
All 3 games on a Saturday and rep games all around them, like international rep games all around them, women's and men's.
See, I think that what I would like is it to be rep weekends, like you say, where it's, it's just rep games Friday, Saturday. I kind of like that Sunday night is the big Origin build-up. I'd like it to kick off at 7 p.m, which I think would be way better. But, yeah, I like that, especially when you consider that State of Origin's like the biggest sporting event in Australia now by quite a long way. So I like that it's sort of that build-up to Sunday. I don't mind the Wednesday night games as well, but the kickoffs are too late for State of Origin.
Yeah. But I would like to see it on a Saturday. You can put it anytime you want on a Saturday, but preferably a 7 p.m. actual kickoff would be spot on. Because nowadays, State of Origin kicks off at 8:15.
Yeah.
It's just absurd.
Oh, it's ridiculous.
No need for that. And that game, or those 3 games, will rate the ass off anything. You could put it on at any old fucking time you want. It will rate its ass off. So I don't know why the networks are pandering to certain time slots they want it to be on and all that sort of rubbish. Put it on whenever you want. It'll outrate it.
Yeah, I feel as like they obviously do it to get to cover certain time slots. And they obviously want it on at night because it's Sunday night's the biggest TV ratings night. But, if they could work out what to put on after Origin, if they found just an hour or a half hour show that they could play after Origins that worked, I feel as though they'd move State of Origin forward for it so that they got that big change. I wonder, say you were Channel 9, for instance, I wonder what would happen if you did State of Origin from, say you started at kickoff at 7 p.m, game finishes at 9, you finish up the game coverage at, say, 9:15, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you pay for the rights for a just out of the cinema movie. And it was like, you know what, State of Origin nights, you not only get to see the State of Origin game, but straight after it, you get to see a movie that is like only just left the cinemas. That would be crazy.
Absolutely.
That would be amazing, hey?
Make a massive event of it. That's a brilliant idea.
Yeah, and it would cost a lot of money, but you would lock it down. You would lock down that day, that week. It'd be ridiculous.
Absolutely would.
I think we're going to see more stuff like that. I think we're going to see, like, I think of a lot of the Marvel movies. Like, if I could pay $50 to watch a one-off, it's still in the cinema movie, I would do that. I like watching stuff at home.
We'll move on before it gets a bit blue. Who is most likely to make their Origin debut for New South Wales next year? Now, I'm going to say these as they're written.
Okay.
Luke Keary, 31%. Tavita Pangai Jr., 16%. Victory Radley, 10%. Matt Lodge, 10%. Bronson Cherry, 10%.
Well, Victory Radley, I mean, he needs to change his name tomorrow. That's the first thing. I can't believe it's not Bronson Cherry straight away, hey?
Yeah, that kid's got so much potential. And he's already starting to cash in on some of it.
Yeah. In fact, I would have no problems if he's in the first game. Just bang, straight in there.
Yep, likewise.
You know. Pangai Jr. has said that he's not representing New South Wales. He might change his mind down the track, but for now he said he's not doing it. Matt Lodge, I don't think should be playing professional rugby league anywhere on planet Earth.
I don't think the NRL will allow him to get picked.
You reckon?
Because, let's be honest, he had a pretty good year this year form-wise. And would you say that Matt Lodge had a better season than Daniel Saifiti?
I would say he has, but I mean, you're setting the bar low there.
I know, but that's my point.
Yeah.
Is I think if Lodge hadn't had that crap from America over his head,
yeah,
I reckon he made his Origin debut this year instead of Saifiti.
Okay, yeah, I see your point of view.
So I don't think they're going to let him in there.
I hope you're right. I really do.
So do I. What is the best venue in Sydney to watch footy at? Bankwest Stadium, 46%. ANZ Stadium, 14%. Leichhardt Oval, 11%. Asbestos Land, 7%.
What?
The SCG, 5%.
What?
Shark Park, 5%. Wynn Stadium, 3%. Panthers, 3%. Cogra, 3%. Belmore, 2%. Campbelltown, 1%.
Wow.
I can't believe that Lottoland and the SCG are above Shark Park, Wynn Stadium, Panther Stadium, even Cogra and Campbelltown and Belmore.
Yeah, like that shocks me.
I've been to all these venues, okay, and except for Bankwest. And Bankwest, you see it on TV, it looks like an absolute no-brainer.
Yeah, that's easy.
Leichhardt, Shark Park, Wynn Stadium, Panther Stadium, Cogra, they've all got those magnificent areas where you can be on a hill, no seats around you, and just get close to the game and watch it like people would have done in the years gone by. All that romantic stuff people go on about Leichhardt Oval, it's the same for all those venues.
Mm-hmm.
And it's fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't get that at SCG. You go to SCG, you're sitting a mile away from everything.
Yeah.
I don't get it. And Brookvale is just, it's a dire venue. I know it's got a hill, and it sounds like it should have been included in the other group I said, but it's just rubbish.
Yeah, it is. I've been there too, and it was kind of shocking, to be honest with you. I've been to Bankwest. I've been to Campbelltown. I was at Campbelltown in a commentary capacity, so I don't think it's fair to judge from that, because obviously you've got one of the best seats in the house being a commentator. I think, I've done Penrith Stadium. I like Penrith Footy Stadium. I know that people say I'm biased, but I feel as though you go there and you don't feel like you have missed out on something. I don't feel like you feel like you're at a stadium where it's a make-do place. Like you can have a nice seat, you can be undercover, you can sit in the hill if you want to. You've got options there.
I put Panthers alongside Shark Park. I think they're both fairly similar in that regard.
Yeah.
And I think they're very good stadiums.
Mm-hmm.
Win Stadium as well.
I mean, it's kind of like the old Paris Stadium where like the old Parramatta Stadium before they rebuilt it, kind of the same thing. It's like you get a seat, you're right near the sideline, it's a proper footy stadium, and you don't really miss out on anything. But yeah, SCG, I can't believe that's there. I can't believe anyone would have voted for Lotto Land. I mean, that's pretty crazy.
It's funny, okay, remember all those results there?
Yeah.
The best venue had ANZ Stadium second best at 14, Lotto Land fourth best at 7%, SCG at 5%. And it says here, what is the worst venue in Sydney to watch footy at? ANZ Stadium, 32%.
Yeah.
SCG, 27%. Lotto Land, 20%. So the top three crappy venues, according to the fans, are also among the top 5 venues that they like going to the most.
That's pretty funny. I guess you can say, here's the thing. I guess the question is the best stadium or the place you like to go the most?
It says, what is the best venue to watch footy?
Right, that's different. Because, like, I went to, I remember going my first time I watched a game between the Dragons and Parramatta Eels at ANZ Stadium, the Olympic Stadium. And I sort of sat where the corner would be of the stadium. And it was kind of shocking how bad it was. Like, it was really shocking. And the crowd wasn't great, and it wasn't a great game, which didn't help. But that's one of the worst places I've gone to watch football. And apparently, and I don't know this because I haven't been for a State of Origin or Grand Final, but apparently it's very different when you got like over 70,000 there. The atmosphere is good and all that, but I'm not willing to invest the money to go to something like that at a stadium that's not made for rugby league.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that one.
And I'm somebody that invested the money to go up to Brisbane to watch the World Cup final and sit behind the post. Like, it's not about not wanting to spend the money, but if I'm going to spend that much money to go and see a big rugby league event, that's a lot of money these days, you better put me on the bloody sideline. I don't want to be sitting back and having to, take binoculars.
The interesting thing I found with this is 1% said Bankwest.
Really?
Yeah. Don't get that at all.
That's stupid. Because I tell you what, I don't know if I said this to you, you could watch a ping pong tournament at Bankwest Stadium, right, and still be pretty close to the action.
Yeah.
Like, it's that damn good. I can't wait till you see it.
And I'm going there very soon. Other than your current coach, who would you want to coach your club? Ooh. Craig Bellamy, 58%. Trent Robinson, second best with 11.
Wow, that's a big drop.
Wayne Bennett, 8. Ricky Stewart, 6. Hasler, 5. Maguire, 3. Nathan Brown, 2%. Anthony Seibold, I think his stock might have taken a bit of a plummet. He's at 2% there. Brad Arthur was at 1%.
Yep.
Along with all the other coaches that we mentioned. Paul McGregor.
What about Ivan?
Ivan's at 1% with Brad Arthur, Paul Green, Justin Holbrook, Dean Pay, Stephen Kearney, and John Morris.
They're all at 1%.
All at 1%.
Okay.
Other than your current coach, who would you least like to coach your club? Oh, man, Wayne Bennett and Paul McGregor, 15%.
Wow, that's interesting, hey?
Ivan Cleary, 14%.
Wow.
Seibold, 10%. Kearney, 9%. Stewart, 6%. Brown, Bellamy, Hasler, 5%. Dean Pay, 4%. Wow. Green and Arthur, 3%. Morrison, Holbrook, 2%. Robinson and Maguire, 1%. Should the bunker be allowed to rule on forward passes? Yes, 71%. No, 29%.
Oh. Stop with the goddamn bunker.
Yeah. Who is the best buy of the season? John Bateman, 23%.
Oh, let me find a bucket to vomit into.
Charles Dickel-Klokstad, 22%. He should be the one at the top. Yeah. Blake Ferguson, 15%.
Yep.
Marcus Sevo, 11%.
Oh, yeah, I didn't think of him, actually. I feel like he's not... man, did you put him as a buy? I guess he is a buy, hey?
Yeah, I think he is. But I'd still have Nickel-Klokstad ahead of him.
I think you're right. Yeah, you're right.
Because I think when Parramatta got Sevo, they went, we know what he's going to be.
Yeah.
But Nickel-Klokstad was virtually unknown. And he's come on so much further than they would have thought he would have.
100%. He shouldn't have shaved his hair, though.
No, that's true.
Like, what was he doing? He needs that man bun. Like, I bet when he turned up and he had a haircut, I bet someone gave him a talking to, hey?
Yeah.
Because I always said, listen, you go on Google, right? Go and look up Samson.
Yeah, I was going to say
start growing your fucking hair right now.
And leave it.
Yeah.
Drinkwater had 7. There was Madison and Garrick with 5. Clemmer and Crichton on 4. Harawira and Nera and James Roberts on 3. That's too high for James Roberts.
James Roberts has been, I mean, when you think about how he started the season with the Broncos, and then you look at what he hasn't really done at Souths, man, he might be an albatross of a contract that they're looking to get rid of not too long from now.
Yeah.
He might be Penrith really soon.
or Titans.
Titan, yeah.
Who is the worst buy of the season? Tyrone Peachy, 25%, and I think that's harsh.
Mm-hmm.
Because Shannon Boyd at 15% for me would be the top one.
He disappeared.
Tyrone's at least been playing. He's been playing all over the place. Yeah. Bench, 5'8", centre, full back. You know, you name it. He's playing every back row.
Mm-hmm.
Nene McDonald, 13%. That's harsh because the poor bastard broke his leg.
Yeah.
Sean Johnson, 13%. Corey Norman, 13%. Same. Jesse Ramian, 12%. Dylan Napa, 10%. Yeah. Rookie of the Year, Payne Haas, 48%. Sevo, 13. Cherry, 12. Pappenheiser, 9. Garrick, 6. Harris Tavita, 3%. Nakora, 3%. Dylan Brown, Brian 2%. And Brett Naden, 1%.
Damn, that's a good list of youngsters, hey?
It is.
Who do you think... I can see a really good argument for probably the top 4 or 5 of those names there, hey?
Yeah, definitely the top 3.
Yeah.
Sevo Cherry, and I'd have Nakora in the conversation because, I mean, he made his test debut after a handful of games this year for New Zealand.
And Harris Tavita, I've banged on about him, but I've always been impressed with how well he's played.
His problem has been the fact that he's got a dumbass coach who wouldn't give him enough game time.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? He would be such a good buy for the Broncos. How good would he be at the Broncos?
Or the Tigers?
No. What are you talking about? I mean, he'd be in negotiation with the Tigers right up until he signed with the Broncos.
That's exactly right. Tigers are just the vehicle to get the contract jacked up.
It's like it's almost to say the Tigers is like sit around and they go, hey, we're in talks to get DWZ, and then but they're talking to other clubs, you know. Don't tell anyone. Hey, Bulldogs, don't tell anyone. We're going to get DWZ. You want out at Penrith?
I think it's more a case of the boards going, who are you guys talking to DWZ? Not me. Oh. Should we give him an offer? No, Bulldogs already signed him. Oh, shit.
Well, they say, like these players, managers, they call up the West Tigers and they say, man, he really wants to come to your club. Just put together an offer. And they're like, yeah, we'll get back to you. Give us 4 or 5, 6, 7, 8 weeks. We'll get back to you. We'll put together a nice deal. And the manager hangs up the phone. He's like, what the fuck am I supposed to do with that?
Oh, we'll just go to the other club.
Yeah, it's like, hey, DWZ, they're really, really keen. They said they'll get back to us in November.
Oh, that's so true. What should the NRL do with the Gold Coast Titans? Relocate, it's never going to work, 51%. Leave them on the Gold Coast, 49%.
Oh,
I would
well,
say
50-50.
I'd say it should say relocate, it's never going to work, 51%. Leave them on the Gold Coast, it's never going to work, 49%.
That's hilarious. That's bloody hilarious. It's, you know what? It's so fucking true.
Would you allow your child to play junior rugby league? Yes, 81%. No, 19%. Oh, mums with kids, 19%.
Mums with kids.
Do negative... Oh, here's one. This is one just for the Daily Telegraph readers.
Okay.
Do negative headlines turn you off from watching the NRL? No, 73%. They're just going, green light, more of that shit coming.
Yeah. Like, can you imagine the people that had to click on that? They're like, oh man, got to gut this one out.
And who is your favourite play-by-play commentator? And Vossi got 32%, Ray Warren 29%, Warren Smith 10%, Ray Hadley 6%.
Ugh.
How? He's atrocious. Andrew Moore 6%, David Morrow 5% with Dan Janine, Brenton Speed 4%, Anthony Maroon and Matt Thompson 2%, Jimmy Smith 1%.
Wow. Was Mark Levy on there?
No.
Okay.
No, didn't get a mention.
Aliases on there?
None of them got a mention.
Okay.
Oh, one of his aliases, Ray Hadley, got a mention. He got 6%. Ooh, biting.
Yeah, how dare you? My favourite one's probably Dan Ganane. And after that, I guess it's Warren Smith.
Yeah, I'm a fan of Vossi, Warren Smith. Don't mind Janine either. They'd be the top three callers for mine.
Okay.
So that wraps up the Daily Telegraph fan poll, which we all had to pay to read.
Yeah, that was really interesting. I think that we got through a lot of topics in that. It's been a good fun episode, hey?
It has, and it has been a long one. But I've got one last thing I'm going to put here just quickly.
Okay, yep.
If you won the $150 million Powerball this weekend,
yes,
or this Thursday,
yes,
what would you do with the money?
Okay. Now, we've discussed this, Andrew.
We have.
Okay. So my plan is this, and I'm not joking. If I win the $150 million, I said I'd give 10 to Andrew and his family, right? That's the first thing I said. The second thing I said is that I'm only going to live for a few more months. If I get him $100 million, come on, man, please.
150.
I'm going to do some weird shit as well. I'm just letting you all know. But my main thing that I'm going to do is I'll purchase the Manly Sea Eagles off the Penn family. And my plan would be to move them straight away to Brisbane. I play at a Suncorp Stadium. Not sure where I'd base the club exactly, but I like your idea that you mentioned to me a while ago. Just, do a deal with Manly up there. Win a Manly. And try and forge links with that club. Keep the same colours. I'd take the history of the Manly Sea Eagles up there as well. Like it'd be a complete move up there. And that would be it. And my plan would be to invest in the club, get them established, get the sponsorship back up, establish a supporter base up there, get money into it, and then sell the club within 10 years to profit off of the club.
Now, you did mention this on Twitter, and Hawko's Eels has replied and said, negative gear them in first 5 years and then claim it on tax.
Well, my club wouldn't make any money, Andrew. I mean, I know that the sponsorships would go through the roof. We'd have way more supporters, get bigger crowds and all that. We'd have sponsors that would be knocking on the door, big national sponsors too. But we're not making any money. I'm just going to let everybody, including the ATO, know that we're not a for-profit organisation. So there will be no profits to be made. And when I do sell the team, I'm sure that there's something I can do with charity or something where I'm not actually making that money. I'm actually losing money on selling them. I'm just saying.
Well, there is a podcast we know of that needs a sponsor.
Yes, a very, very good sponsor, a very, very good podcast.
Yeah.
And what would that podcast be called?
Virgo and the Freak.
Oh, yeah.
Just pump the money back into it.
Yeah,
that seems like a legitimate way to hide your money. I mean, invest your money legally.
Yeah. It's an investment in the future. That's
what I meant. Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for tuning in, everyone, for this very long episode. People have been asking for more episodes, so we're just delivering more of the episodes as well as more episodes.
Yeah. And can I just say to everyone, if the symptoms persist, see your doctor.